biggest controversy of a spiritual life versus healthy psychological status is a running between two ends of restrainment and suppression.
Power off.
Restraint and suppression, these two are two opposite modes of human psychology, and hence, of course, spirituality. In modern times, the psychologists, as such, many new age gurus say that restrainment is not important because that creates suppression, and suppression may create manipulation in psychological status. But is there a human being who is a human being in its own self-respect without being restrained? At the same time, we see the religious extremists in many of the monks' life and nuns' life. They've taken to abstention from mundane desires to an extreme that they have gone into suppression. As a result, a number of perversions have come up in their life, which are being always hushed up in an organization. Today's discussion will be that where do we travel between restraint and suppression? Human beings have developed in the evolution branch evolving from and transcending animal nature. But in the same evolution, the desires of mundane has not come down more than the animals, but has increased. How? An animal, when an animal is hungry, in most of the animals, not all animals, they don't store, they won't hoard. Once they're hungry, they go for hunting or finding their food. When their hunger is fulfilled, they don't have hankering for food, for storage, or for hoarding anything. General, some animals, of course, hoard, like the squirrels, they hoard nuts and seeds that they eat. They hoard in the trees, in the grottos of the trees, and then they forget. They cannot remember so clearly. So they forget. As a result, they lose their nuts and seeds. So we know they hoard. Some animals hoard, but it's not regular. But see, as human beings, once we finish a food, We start thinking what will be once we have finished lunch, we have already started thinking what will be the dinner. Once I know there is a crisis in the market, I start storing, which will create more crisis in the market. There is no end of greed, not even it's made by hunger. It's made by uncompromised desire. Similarly, this about greed, about anger. If animals feel insecurity, birds, any life apart from human beings, they may get angry, they may attack, it is their self-defense. It's not in my knowledge that animals get angry psychologically or revengeful. I've seen some domestic animals do that because they're domesticated, they take up on human mind, human characters. But see, human beings, somebody next to you are doing well and you are suffering jealousy. You are thinking how I can pull him down or pull her down. Why I am angry when somebody else is good. So there's no end of human anger. From personal grievance, revenge, anger, to global warfare. There's no end of this anger, of this aggression in human beings. Now come to the point of sexuality. In all other animals, sexuality arises in mating season, and that's made for procreation. They have accepted it as procreation. Whereas in human beings, it's 365 days, 24 plus hours, sexuality is going on. You go to buy a firecracker, there will be picture of scanty clothes woman. You try to buy a cake, there will be a sexy woman's picture in the hoarding. You buy to get anything, even a new apartment, there will be a picture of an attractive woman standing. Why? And why women stand for this unending sexuality of human behavior? This is a question in me from childhood days. When childhood days, there used to be circus. Nowadays, people seldom go to circus. They go to disco. In our time, we used to go to see circus. So I asked my mother that why women are wearing so less clothes, looks so bad. She said, no, it's difficult for them to do these games, and that is why they need to wear less clothes. So the men are also doing those same workouts. Why they don't have scanty clothes and women have scanty clothes? My mother hushed me up. Today also my same question comes. When a man does not feel over smart with scanty clothes, why a woman's dress is becoming shorter and shorter? Why you need to wear dress? Give it up. God has given you a dress, the skin, enough. Here comes the question of restraint. Are you the embodiment of sex, greed, and anger? Do you want to see yourself like that? If you don't want to see yourself like that, if you are not respectable in your eyes with your sex, greed, and anger, Why do you promote it so much? And if this promotion, going against this promotion is unhealthy because it is suppression, then all perversions are healthy, all aggressions are healthy, greed is healthy, sexual misconducts, rapes, abuse, fascination, illegitimate affairs, all are healthy. So my question is, how do you deal your humanity without restraint? And if you don't have restraint, how do you grow self-sacrifice? How do you feel for others if you are so preoccupied with what you desire, what you need as your main criteria of human life? So we need to know what is the borderline between suppression and restraint. Restraint is against temptation, where you are weak, you are wrongly vulnerable, you are allowing yourself to be disoriented, going into low self-respect, low self-esteem, or indulging your desires. So the fight is going between you and your desires. Whom to respect, your desires or yourself? If self-respect is there, that cannot be indulged. Indulgence in sex, greed, and anger. But these are natural phenomena, natural instincts. How to deal with it without getting suppressed? A number of new generation parents are coming to me saying that children who are of the age of 18 to 20 are very aggressive. They have no faith in life. They have no faith in the social system. They're thinking they're misusing their life in the regularity of studying, having a career, having a regulated life that their parents believed as a norm. But look into these parents. They have started breaking the discipline in their own life and indulged their children into basic emotions because they thought in their time their parents didn't give them enough opportunity and they're suppressed. So they didn't want the children to be suppressed. So the children are growing up with night parties. And now you cannot control your children. And you are shouting on whom? Your children, yourself, your traditional values, or your newly realized values, on what you are standing. Why you have to go on blaming others? Why don't you find what wrong you have done to yourself that your children do not obey you, respect you, listen to you? because you have also indulged in desires, because you have also not respected restraint. How you can teach your generations restraint, your generations discipline? The new generations follow the old generation's value system. When the children see that the value system that is put on them is not followed by their own parents, they do not respect that value system because they know it is a totally manipulated system. So that without restraint, there is no true human being. But the restraint should not become an abstention from desires to an extent that it has crossed over the natural boundary. And anything you cross the limits of natural boundary, you call for an evil, and the evil is perversion. Long back, in my young days, I used to travel from monasteries to monasteries. A very big organization in India, a very big monastery. And there are a lot of monks. I was invited in their breakfast. And the amount of breakfast they're eating, I saw that the common, mundane people do not eat so much. Elaborate breakfast, they're going on eating, middle-aged monks, eating. And I was young, I was very thin, and I was not being a very good eater. So the Maharaj is sitting next to me saying, Maharaj means the monk, why are you not eating? Yes, sir. I said, my sense of hunger has gone, seeing the extent of eating you people are carrying on in this breakfast table. How much a person can eat? Why you people are eating so much? What is your control of greed in matter of food when you are a monk? He looked at me very hopeless and then said, what you know? Among sex, greed, and anger, we are taught that sex is the worst because we have suppressed it. We have not transcended it. So our greed and anger has increased. A very genuine confession from an aged monk. From that day, I started thinking, that time I have not taken sannyas, that if I take sannyas, I'm not going to join any monastery. I started seeing the monasteries are all fake manipulation of identity crisis and emotional manipulations. Restraint is replaced by abstention from their suppression, from their perversion. Immense perversion I've seen in monasteries. High respectable monks continuously doing on homosexual abuses on youngsters of the institution. Not one case, hundreds of cases, and then hushing up. For that hushing up, for saving their self-respect, outer respect, they have no self-respect. I don't think they have any self-respect. More and more manipulation, more and more pride going. The balance have to be achieved between restraint and suppression. Restrainment is not suppressing yourself. Restrainment has to be supported by self-counseling. Who is counseling yourself? You yourself is counseling. If suppose you see somebody else's beautiful thing and you want to have it, and your self-respect stand against it, then take the refuge of the self-respect. And the self-respect will tell you that don't have that greed. Don't go into stealing. Same about sexuality, same about it. That am I so small that I will do such a nasty thing? But how much nasty things people do, and then they support it with full ego. This is another astounding thing for me. Much later in my life, I started understanding those who have high ego, is not likely that they have high self-respect. And then I started saying self-respect and ego are contradicting each other. And one who does not have self-respect has high ego. Where from that ego comes? This is supported by high self-manipulation. How? I'm in my guru's house. I'm doing everything disciplinary. I'm out of my guru's house. I'm moving my own desires and likings. To whom I am cheating? I'm cheating the guru, or I'm cheating the self. If the disciplines of the guru is not possible for me to follow, I tell my guru it is not possible for me to follow. I'm incapable. And the guru is true guru will not ask you to abstain and suppress and suffer, that you cannot follow. A sensible guru will not ask a lame person to run. But same manipulation is carrying on. And then those who are doing these manipulations, they're teaching dharma to others. They're teaching value orientations to others. They're finding a fault with others. Continuous lying going on with the self. In my own disciples, I see that. Because this I have not experienced in myself from childhood days. I always used to think these are psychological. But now I'm saying this may be normal and I may be psychological. So most of the dharma preaching, dharma talk, valuation, intellectual jugglery is coming up like a shield to cover up yourself from your self-indignity. You are hiding away from yourself because you are incapable to stand against your own sex, greed, anger, your desire. So strong that you have to pretend you are holy. And there will be always marketing gurus, those who will sell you identities, that you are my disciples, so you are holier than others. So what is the value? What is the need of this self-manipulation? Cheating yourself day and night, day and night, day and night. Cheating yourself. If you at least be honest to yourself and surrender, okay, it's my fault. This is what I cannot control myself. If you surrender to your self-watching yourself, from that vulnerability, you will get ways of restraint from you. But if you are dishonest to yourself, forget about being dishonest to others. It's always there with human beings. Most of the time, if you are not truthful to yourself, no dharma, no God, no guru, no institution, no blessings can help you. Face yourself. See how much you are cheating yourself. Why you need dharma? To change you? To stop your self-manipulation, self-cheating, ugly, desirous ends? Or to get a support for it, like putting up a shield in front of you, and you are saying you are safe because others are thinking you are very dharmic. Suffering are not ending. You are getting picked up by your near people. They are seeing what you are doing, from where you are hiding. And if you feel it is a fun, then you are caught in your own fun. You are making yourself dance with the beats of your drum, and you are a monkey to your beating drum. That low creature you are made out of yourself, of your sex, greed, anger, and addiction. So if you have a disease and if you keep the bottle of medicines or the strips of medicines on an altar and worship it, will you be cured? You have to take this medicine. Take the dharma inside rather than putting on them on your altar and keeping it as a self-manipulative decoration for yourself. Rather than reading 100,000 holy books, read your own mind. See where you are cheat to yourself. Where is the hypocrisy with yourself? You may escape everybody, but you will not escape your own being. So where you are trying to hide your frailties, behind dharma, behind social organizations, behind all you do and others clap you. What a great person you are. Who are to yourself? Ask yourself. Stand in front of the mirror and go on looking at your own image and see who you are. A need cannot be suppressed, but a desire can be suppressed. It will not become suppression if you counsel yourself with self-respect. If you want to honor yourself, you want to respect yourself, you want to feel the pride of being yourself, save yourself from your self-manipulations. And those who can't do it, forget dharma. Their lives will be miserable. Their lives are already miserable. Why our lives are miserable? We don't see it. It's our own choice. Whenever we go against restraint, not abstention, not suppression, whenever we go against restraint, self-manipulation comes. Because the fear of what people will make out of us is getting made upon in us, inside us, on the moment by my own witness consciousness. Whom are you cheating? Whom you are manipulating and covering up by thousands of lies? Why you have to justify and give so much reasons and explanations? Because you have no self-respect for yourself. That is why you make an incident in your version comfortable for you to escape your indignity. But you are growing the indignity more and more in every step in you as long as you are lying. You are manipulating. You are hiding behind your false dramas. Because you know you have become a slave of your desires. So you want to be boss of others. You are already defeated to yourself. You are doing intellectualism, big words, big explanations in front of others that they don't know that what you are hiding. While we restrained, The method is when a temptation comes, we fast, take a long breath, cool ourselves. All meditations are to keep you well in your body and mind. If you cannot apply the meditations in time of crisis, then meaningless is meditation. All sadhanas are meaningless if they're not applied in life. So when a temptation is coming, you are facing a temptation. Look at yourself. First, watch what the temptation is. Have a vivid look of the temptation. Don't react immediately. Don't invite it. If something is teasing you, watch the teasing. And more you watch, more its values will open up to you. Is it valuable to entertain or not valuable to entertain? Anything that is enticing you, look at it and look at yourself at the same time. Why you are getting disturbed with the temptation? Because the temptation is working inside you, not outside. There's a wise saying, if the beer got one drunk, if the alcohol got one drunk, then the bottle would have got drunk before you. It's not objective. It's objective in the secondary state. The primary state, it's in you. And remember, as much as you enjoy hiding out from others, from your own self, that much dissatisfaction of the enjoyment will happen. And as much dissatisfaction of the enjoyment will happen, that much desire to fulfill it will upsurge. And thus you are caught in the vicious cycle. So when a temptation comes, watch it. Watch how it is affecting you. If you go on watching how it is affecting you, and you watch yourself, the temptation won't work on you. But this little workout, most of you don't want. Prior to that, you yourself create situations to invite temptations. There's a saying, old saying, Satan doesn't come without an invitation. So you have to allow the evil, keeping your door open and welcoming the evil. So the door is your allowance. The evil is the desire that cool down your self-respect to yourself. You every day become ugly to your own eyes. Start watching yourself. In every interaction in life, know who you are. how low you can become in interactions. If you know, then you will be able to stop your falling. If you have no self-esteem, why you are a human being? You're like a bug. I've long stayed with wild animals in my life. I've seen them much more restrained and naturally controlled than human beings. Because I cannot restrain myself from my own desires, from my own sex, greed, and anger. I'm projecting myself as a holy man, as a successful person, as an intellectual person. All these are just whitewash whom I am cheating. Why I have to live on what others think about me? Why I'm not happy about what I know about myself? Because I'm unhappy about what I know about myself, I'm bothering what others will think about. One who is honest and not in self-manipulation will not be afraid of others. If there is no sin in your mind, sin is that guilt, knowledge of that low self-esteem, that how low you can become, you don't need a God. If you are not falling, if you can hold yourself, you don't need to imagine a God. You don't need an outer objective dharma to purify you. That is a restraint. Restraint is not behaving grave and bossy with a square jaw. Look at me. No. Self-respect is not look at me. Self-respect is, please leave me alone. I'm happy with myself. Now, is there any question about this? You can ask me anywhere that you didn't understand what I am saying.
Baba.
Yes.
Did you say, I'm quoting you, so I wanted to make sure I'm writing some things down, and without, wait, no, not that part. The ones who see flaw in others are continuously self-obsessed with self-manipulation. Did I get it correct?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Perfect.
See, I have nothing to act too smart for others to accept me if I have accepted.
Yeah.
When the self-acceptance is not there, then I have to appear to be somebody to others, because to myself, I am no one, or I am a tragic one, or I am a person whom people will take pity upon, because I myself take pity upon myself.
Thank you.
So don't care what others say. If your conscience is clear, what you are doing, if people don't understand you, so the big 4-lettered word, You don't need anybody's understanding. You need your own personal understanding about yourself. That's the primary thing. I have a friend here. I have a friend here who is fighting in a society, in a family, but has not lost his self-respect about who he is and what he believes in. He's not giving up the other side of his fight. He has not taken up into a Dharma practitioner's false stand, but he's practicing Dharma. He's keeping up with all the responsibilities of the family and around. But nobody being able to tempt him in matter of what he believes and what he respects. There can be that part in many of you, in all of you, that part of self-respect is there. Where you have failed, you have started suffering. And if you have not failed, you are not suffering. Your suffering is with your failure to yourself. It can be a suffering with failure to others, that I could not keep my father's wishes on me. I could not keep my mother's wishes on me. I could not keep the expectations of my people around me. But more than that, the real pain and suffering comes when I cannot keep up the respect to myself. Any question about it from anybody?
Baba, I do have a question. How can we differentiate the true self between the ego self? Because sometimes you don't understand. Because
it's a very important question. It's a very important question. First and foremost, start understanding it simply. More you make it important, or we make anything important, we make it more and more complex and difficult. The things are very simple. The thing is the I consciousness. When the I consciousness is connected to objective interactions, the self becomes ego. And when the I consciousness is working with subjective end, it's self-respect. Now make a demarcating line. I am so and so to others or to myself first. If you are so and so to yourself and you are happy with yourself, that is your true self. I won't say like a Vedantist, a true self is that you will never know. Then why we are running after it? The true self is a respectable self. How I see myself is the matter of the self. How others see me is matter of ego. Is it correct? Do you understand it? It's clear, it's very simple, it's not difficult. We don't have to go very complex situations. So sometimes an extreme subjectivity can also create a false ego. How? I'm giving you an example. A God man is thinking I'm God. First of all, for almost everybody, if somebody has not met God and talked with God and experienced God, God is an imagination, isn't it? So when I start thinking I'm a God man, I'm also imagining myself to be something. So then this imaginary thing is an object that is not me. But I want to be that, the ambition to be that. That is also an ego support. That is also an ego. I was 14 years with a Vedanta guru, who was a great guru. He was psychic too. But he always said that because he's a God man, there cannot be any flaw, any frailty in me. And that we objectively believe. It so happened after 14 years, when he has already declared me to be an completely accomplished avadhut, some people poisoned his ears against me, and he believed it. And because he believed it firmly, listening to others, he started making scandals about me out of his own anger. This is his ego working, that he has understood it. This ego might have come from his love and attachment to me, but this love attachment is also not free from negativity. Otherwise, he wouldn't have got so angry and believed in a false story. It was a conspiracy. Because I was nearest to him and my other guru brothers and sisters, many were hyper jealous about it. Because to them, it was also an objective attainment. And I was not interested in it. I was only interested to serve my guru. So when I found that he is blaming me very badly, speaking to many people about it, without a social, dignified, responsible role play, my respect failed for him. And I left him. I didn't want to go back. So I wanted, still my love was so big for him, I wanted to know whether he will talk with me before he is passing judgments. But I was being next person to him at that time. I was not allowed to go and meet him. The conspiracy was so hard with his God-man's protocol around him. So I filed a defamation case against my own guru, which may account to I am egoistic to fight against my guru. No. he has 14 years given me the great gospel of self and self-respect. And he's slandering my self-respect in the society. Though I don't care, but still I should stop him for his own good. So when I filed a case, first came muscle flexors. And I told them, I'm a human being. I know to fight for my life. If you are threatening me, I will fight with you. Before I am killed, I will kill too. So they dispersed, they got afraid. I took my trident and said, I will start killing if you start harming me. I can fight in my self-defense. They went away. Then elders started coming, stop this, don't kill. No, I have no chance to talk to him face to face. I am being blamed of something that I have not done. It's a lie. And some people have put this lie on his mouth, and I'm not going to accept it. He has to talk to me. Because he is already talking to public against me, I have called him in court that I talk to him open eye to eye. I'm not afraid of anything. When this news reached to him, in which form the news reached to him, I do not know. He came for a peace contract that he will not speak about me and I will not pull him to the court. I said, what is his fear to come to the court? He is God. Is the courtroom away from God? So long I was hearing in Vedanta that everything is self. Where is that self now? Everything is consciousness. Where is that consciousness now? So was that also another self-manipulation? How do I know? Whatever. At time I felt that he is afraid. He cannot face me in a social court. He's irresponsibly he has spoken these wrong things, very irresponsible. So I said, okay, give it up. I started my own life. After 12 years, he was giving a lecture, a public lecture, but suddenly his mouth got blocked, his tongue got twisted, and people thought he has got a thrombosis. He could not speak. He could not complete a sentence. So his virtue as a Vedantist was what he starts talking, he has to complete that total idea to those who are listening. This is what I also follow him. So he is to say, if you keep broken threads, Saraswati, or the goddess of learning, will get disintegrated, will get wounded if broken thread thoughts are kept in a discussion. From your side, you have to complete understanding to yourself that you are reaching others. But he could not. So those who are blind faith holders of him, they didn't understand. So he went to a 3 days of silent retreat, alone retreat. And after that, he came out crying by saying that the mother goddess appeared to him and punished him by not letting him speak. What realization he was going to speak out, because he has mistreated me, misjudged me, and spoken wrong things about me, that he learned from the mother goddess 12 years after he has done that social damage to me for good. And the elder Guru brother I met, he was in his 70s, though. He was in his deathbed. And he held my hand, cried, and said, please forgive me. Because if Baba Thakur is also not forgiven by Ma, then we will not be forgiven for believing you are wrong, for speaking, thinking wrong about you. I said, I can forgive you because you are not a God man. So one who is preaching, I am a God man, I am liberated from everything. Why that person after 12 years have to say I'm punished by the mother for speaking, slandering the respect of my nearest disciple? Why? Observing it, when I heard it, even my respect was more lost about him. So this Guru brother of me is asking me, you still believe he's an avatar, he's a God man? I said, yes. But the problem is not the way you people believe. You people believe something otherworldly always. Why? Because you are not happy with your worldly self. I'm very happy with my worldly self, and my otherworldly or my fantasy world of gods and goddesses and dharma is not separated from my mundane self. I am very clear about it. And I know that every human being can do a mistake. Knowingly, it is a crime. Unknowingly, it's forgivable. And every human being can do this mistake. So he can also do this mistake. But we were taught that he can never do a mistake. This, that I can never do a mistake because I'm a realizer, is also an ego trial. That is why I say that Vedanta is a very good philosophy for urban people, those who are full of self-guilt. If they think, I am the light, I'm free from all bad things, I am Nitya Shuddha Buddha Mukta Ajaramara Apapa, with all these big words, they can for some time wash their brain themselves that they are better people. And this philosophy entices people who are holding a lot of self-guilt in them. So I started going behind the philosophies, behind the so-called realizations, and start seeing what is the structure of psychology there. So from them, there, my teachings have come to witness yourself. Don't imagine yourself as something that you do not know, because that will also take you a wrong ego. You better see who are you and where you have lost respect on yourself. More you are respectful yourself by refraining from what makes you low in your own eyes. You will one day find out the God self in you, which is free from all praises and all criticisms. Is it clear that how the extremes can change your mindfulness, Mario? Is it clear to you? Is there any more question there?
No, Baba, it's clear. Thank you.
Anybody, any more question about it? Yes, Sam, speak out.
Baba, isn't fear a part of it as well? Like when there is too much of repression, or when there's like something abnormal, and it takes the form of the fear as well. That's what I've seen.
Fear is fast in you where you don't know yourself. Fear is a basic instinct. If fear was not there, there was no self-defense. There was no cautious. There was no thinking before you leaping. So it is also a natural instinct, and a natural instinct is not wrong. So fear is not wrong. Don't be a plastic Buddha that I have no fear. If you see fire, it's not wise that you jump into fear because I have no fear. Now the question is, fear from whom? From your own self-ignorance, that you are confused and you can mess up, or fear of others more powerful than you and can harm you. The biggest fear in human beings is about themselves. It's not so much about others. Yes, it's of course a part about others also, and that is real in this life. It is not that if you are a holy person, nobody will attack you or nobody will disturb you. No. Even Buddha was stoned by Brahmins in his time. Christ was crucified. So fear, we should not be such heroes that we are not afraid of anything. Fear is also a life support to know your boundaries. It comes from insecurity, but it can become an obsession. Like I'm giving you an example. From my own life, I have right to give examples. I always speak from my own life. A time when I was a young Avadhut, I felt I should reach every person in the world who is suffering. And I will try my best. This is not an ego, but a kind of empathy that if I cannot, then I feel guilty. And I started my journey like that. I'm no humbug. I didn't keep myself away from people. I didn't follow touchability. I didn't follow appearing as a God-man. My truth was becoming a common man, a common human being. What is global is the commonness of all the individuals. And I wanted to reach it and see in that standard what is spirituality. So I mixed with people as my own people. Many people thought, I don't have a self-respect. I'm making myself cheap. Many people thought, he's such a lover that he doesn't care for. So there were always extreme thoughts of people. But I was driven by my empathy and working for everybody, whoever approaches me. It went on. It went on. Went on for long years. Then I got tired. Then I started thinking that I've got too tired. And my empathy could not help everybody. because my empathy reached me to the suffering. But one who is suffering is not always ready to take my help. So if one who is not taking the help in front of that person, my empathy is helpless. So from there, I suffered in behalf of them. I went on. Today I've come to a point that I have got a lot of physical ailments due to taking the suffering of others. Why? I entered through empathy in their suffering and tried to experience what is the suffering that they're suffering so much. From there, whatever way I gave them, because I had to find the way. If I don't jump into the water, how can I help the drowning person? I can also get drowned. So by that, I learned that what is the problem? The problem is the expectation to myself can also push my ego to an extreme empath. I cannot help people until and unless they receive my help. So I found my boundaries, my limitations. Today, I've not stopped my empathy, but I have stopped that faith on me that if people do not receive the help, I will still help them, is not working. I've learned this practically. If somebody does not receive the help from me, I cannot help. I can only offer the help and wait, taking the pain of the person, whether the person can take the help from me at all or not. So fear is a basic instinct which is connected to insecurity. Again, it is connected to survival. Survival has created insecurity. Because survival is for the fittest. So there is a contest, there is a fight, there is a war. Isn't it? See, suppose you are studying or doing a job, wherever you are, you will always see there is a competition going on. I've seen this competition in student life. I've seen this competition in political life, of course. A part of my life as a student was a political life also. I've not left anything of life undone. I found this competition in my profession when I was an artist. I found this competition when I entered the scholars' world. I found this competition deadly in the world of sadhus and holy people. So when I saw this nasty competitiveness in holy people, I started thinking, oh my God, the first poison is jealousy and competition that they have not gone beyond. And still they are calling themselves sadhus, calling themselves holy people. The first poison is not gone. So I started going to the congregations, sadhu congregations, to the melas, congregations, because I was tired, my mind was sad. That all that I expect from these people is a kind of holiness that's all false. It's not in them. Most of them are not holy. They're pretending. So after some 20 years, I left the scholars world also. I'm tired of this false competition. Nobody's searching the truth of a research in a scholar's world. Everybody is trying to make a pedestal by doing a gimmick. You will get astounded to know a new group of English scholars have come up from Oxford University. I will not speak the names out. They have a group later. They try to prove that Satsang Baba is a fiction made by Tibetan Buddhists to control common people. But these people, what a scholar does not understand cultural anthropology. A fictitious character cannot come up without a history that people will go on surrendering and respecting, because it is not just a God, not an imaginary God. It's a human being. It's neither, he's an epic hero, didn't come out from a poetry. His teachings are alive. Texts are assigned in name of Padma Vajrapada. Now, if you read the Book of Great Liberation, just a moment, if I can take it, I will. Okay, it's not here in my library. Somebody has taken it. So if you read the little part of Satsang Baba's teachings, you will find he has given a list of terminologies of various philosophies and comparing those terminologies from his view of truth. So there, if any Buddhist Lama has read it clearly, will not disrespect those terminologies that he has picked up from Hindu terminology, Buddhist terminology, Jain terminology, various sects of Buddhist terminology. He's saying some call it Mahamudra, some call it sky-like consciousness, some call it the self, some call it the void, some call it the great void. So these are terminologies. So if he says that Mahamudra is same as self-realization, as the realization of void, then whom people are debating with? So most of the religionists, they don't read their own holy text with a clear vision. They start with the fear that somebody will be holier than me. So I have to compete, I have to fight. I'm not speaking your names. Someday you are discussing about some Rinpoche and I said, this is my view and opinion. Why? Because I'm a common man to be afraid of. If I'm afraid of human beings, I stay away from human beings. I've made myself enough secluded, more secluded, I will become a caveman. But the question is the truth particularly Buddhist or Hindu or Muslim or Christian or Parsi or Abrahamic or shamanic? Isn't the truth the truth? How does the Hindu see the sky and the Christian see the sky differently? The sky is same to everybody. So whether I'm searching for truth or I am searching for religious truth is very important. As I told you, when I went to the scholastic world, I found those who are Jain scholars, come from Jain community, they will translate the term Buddha by calling it a realizer. They will translate the term Shiva by calling it good, will of the world, W-E-A-L, will of the world. But they will keep the term Jain as Jain, or Jina. If a Buddhist translates the same sloka, will keep the Buddha, Buddha, will translate the Shiva and translate the Jina as the victorious. So all these qualities are going to Buddha because Buddha is fixed. While to the Jain scholar, the Jina is fixed. If there is a Shaivite scholar, a Shaivite religionist, will keep the term Shiva untranslated. They will translate the term Buddha and translate the term Jina. What's it showing? That none of them has ever fathomed in their own consciousness what is this word actually meaning. They're busy fighting with others. It's not that I don't fight with others. I'm a big fighter. But we fight on the view of a common man's view of truth that everybody can understand. What I will attain by becoming a religious leader, pomp, luxury, power of administration, establishments, many disciples, where I am different from mundane. Why I have to be different from mundane also is a question. Because the real spiritual and the real mundane are not two things. It's the same thing. Only in our mind they're divided. And this division is the separation from truth. If mundane is free from negatives, it's spiritual. I took a 3 days retreat in a forest and felt very great and came back home. So I was working in the kitchen with Ma, and Ma said, you don't have to be anxious. I've told the boys, some of the disciples live near me to eat my head up. And I've told them nobody will come today. So your retreat is continued in the home. So when I was working with Ma, after 3 hours, I told Mama, today everything has come back to my, like my old days when I was young, that I am not disturbed. I'm not separating the spiritual and mundane. I've never separated it in my heart, but also in my activity and mind, I'm seeing the separation is dissolved. That I am working in the kitchen, I'm working in the room. Every moment is a moment of deep meditation. And this meditation is not an imposed meditation. Now I have to sit for a meditation, not that. How much I'm enjoying cooking a food, how much I'm enjoying cleaning a plate, how much I'm enjoying dusting the room. They said, Ma, see, last 6 years I'm suffering a stress of people. There were people all through my life. The stress is many. in me, not in the people. The trouble is, my boat is too full and it is sinking. And just 3 days, we went to a forest. Generally, Ma and me do not talk much because Ma remains in her samadhi and I remain in my samadhi when we are alone. Or Ma is working in the home and I'm talking to people, or I and Ma together working in home. Not much talk we do, so there is no stress about it. And then we were in this absolutely green, dark forest. And I became very happy. So I said, Ma, what a common human being needs, and which is not just a desire, which is a very essential need, is to be in nature for some time. I'm born and brought up in Calcutta. I worked my living in Calcutta, the first part of my life's living in Calcutta. And then I chose this northeastern Himalayan hills to enjoy nature. And since I've come here, people, where is the tree? Where is the butterfly? Where is the bird? I think, Diego, you remember how much we used to enjoy in that Italian ashram, looking just out in the sky and the hills. Remember in that stone balcony, you, Yasmina Ma, are standing in the morning and looking at the sky, forgot your extreme love and extreme fights, both. And then I came and joined you and said the most you have. So that is what we need. Yesterday, I told Ma, it was like 10 o'clock in the night, Ma, I'm feeling claustrophobic. This is where the fear. So all these years of continuously taking people's trouble and not allowing me to be much with myself, I have grown a fear of getting locked in a room, because all the time I'm sitting in my chair and talking to people. So wherever I'm meditating, I'm seeing walls and walls and walls. Time to time, a dream was coming back in these 5 years that I'm in between two very tight walls and I'm trying to pass through it. I can see the sky, but I cannot pass through, and the walls are coming closer and closer and closer. It's not letting me go out of it. So this is fear. Fear is generated from anything that works against the healthy life. Even the job of compassion can create fear. You know, in painting, there is a thing called cubism. It came up with the artists of Second World War. Why? They were so closed in their houses, fear of the war not going out, that they only saw doors, windows, and walls. And from there, they're seeing everything as cubics. Picasso has said a big talk on this cubism. Once Picasso very arrogantly said, I don't paint a landscape. When anybody asks me, I say I'm much happy. I'm very happy without nature. Why? Because I am a wartime boy. always closed in my house. So I saw this claustrophobia, or being afraid of being closed, in me. When I am not giving myself any space, 24 hours I'm with people. Then I understood why a retreat is needed. Why I need to give myself some time also. It has become inevitable. So thus, every fear is not bad. A fear may turn you from something unhealthy or something which has gone to an extreme. A big part of the fear is self-ignorance. What is self-ignorance? Not knowing I am Brahma or I am Atma. That is also, I am manipulating myself by thinking I am something that I don't know and I cannot. What a great thing I am. I'm not there. I'm very much grounded in this reality. If I was not born, if I didn't suffer, I didn't have the thought of liberation. And if I have found any liberation, it is in life and not away from life. So this is where also fear is your protective limitation, and fear is the evil that can destroy. We have to find the balance. Vajrayana is showing the Vajra. Which is the design of balance. Which is not a design of anything disbalanced. Everything from all sides, it's a balance. So whenever you have fear, concentrate on the heartbeat and try to pacify the heartbeat by relaxing your breath, not stopping your breath, not pulling your breath, just relaxing your breath. More you relax your breath, more you relax your breath, more you relax your breath, the fear will go. Because fear is about ignorance most of the time. Its fear is of knowledge also. Like there is a riot going on outside the door, I will not go. That fear is your protection. It is not unknown, it's known. I don't know swimming, I should not jump into the big lake, I will drown myself. This fear is your protection. I'm afraid of certain people that if I go to them, they will persuade me to go against my virtues. That's a healthy fear. So, entire human world is standing in between the two extreme ends and binaries. When the Vajra is broken, if we see these two ends as two different things, it's not two different things, it's the same thing. The center is zero. The center of a magnetic bar has neither attraction nor repulsion. The attraction and repulsion are in the extreme ends, remember it. Is your question answered properly? Did I understand your question properly? Did you get satisfied with the answer?
Yes, Baba.
If not, we can discuss more. Till our issues are resolved. Jessica is smiling. When today morning I got up from bed, I was very sad because one of my nearest disciples, a tribal king from Arunachal. He has got COVID and he is not well. So I'm continuously sitting in meditation and praying to Ma that Ma, don't take away my dear son in my living time from me. You promised me that during the period of COVID, my children will not suffer. At least my mundane, limited end of a human being does not get into more suffering. She said, yes, nobody of you or near you will die in COVID. At least I believe she said that to me. And it has, like all my disciples who have gone through COVID, 3 days, 4 days, 5 days, they're well. But this child of mine is not yet well, and I am, till now, Ma was talking to, he stays in a remote part of Arunachal Pradesh, from where to come to the nearest hospital is a 4 hours drive. There's no doctor in that place. So I'm really very disturbed from the morning. So when I got up in the morning and I said, oh, today is the satsang, what I have to say? And in my bedroom, there's a picture of Ma Tara, a big picture, which is the face of the mask that is worshipped in Tarapit. Because in the 70s, I practiced in Tarapit for 8 years in the cremation ground. So that picture is very dear to me. It is bigger than the life size in my. So I looked at her and said, what today I will speak rubbish? What is my talk of rubbish today? Because whatever I talk, I don't value. Because all talk that is reaching to you. If my experiences, I could reach to you through my talks. If anybody is connected to my experience through my talks, then I'm happy. But I know it's not always possible. In some cases, it will happen. All cases, it will not happen. So Ma said, talk the balance of restraint and suppression. And you know, I have a big family in India to the entire West, Europe, America, Australia. So they're also my children. I never see them as a different person from myself. Or like I never see foreigners as foreigners. They're all human beings. They're all my people. I belong to everybody. So the next thing came to my mind, the Western terminology of modern psychotherapists and psychologists is suppression. They're working on it very much because this is one thing you cannot prove. Where is the limit? And what I've said in Indian society, the suffering comes from extreme understanding of restraint. That you tighten the garter belt every day and you will transcend sex. So the first thing in the spiritual world, in the tradition you do, is to make a loincloth very tight. So tight that even your genitals can get damaged. So when I first went to my Vedanta Guru and he gave me this loincloth, 8 finger breadths straight, have to be put around the navel and put it from in between the thighs and tighten it. I wore some 7 days. After 7 days, I took it, rolled it and kept it in the altar. It's the only thing my Guru has given. So again, my Guru saw I am not wearing the langati. You are not wearing langati, it's brahmacharya. I said, Brahma means that expanse. To practice the Brahman is to tighten my genitals. And my mind whole day is being pulled to my genitals because it's tight and I'm feeling uneasy. Every time I have to go to have a pee, I have to open the knots and again tighten and knot it. What this thing is. I said to my guru, I'm not going to wear it. I have a natural restraint. I don't want to wear it until and unless I know the science of it. You convinced me. How does it stop sexual mind? He could not convince me. He understood he cannot convince me. So he didn't anymore persuade me to wear that. So is your question fulfilled with the answer? Because what happens, when you people ask me a question, that becomes my self-questioning. This is my method. And then the self-questioning takes me to ask within myself, search the box of experiences and records of experiences, that if this is a crisis, what is the resolution? From there I answer. Maybe sometimes what you are questioning from that faculty of your mind, I am not communicating. I don't know maybe. So that is why I ask. Once you ask a question and I answer you, whether I have reached your question or not. Do you think that I have resolved the issue of the primary understanding of fear that you asked me?
Yes, Baba.
Okay. Anybody has any more questions? Mika is thinking of asking some questions, I think, and controlling him.
No.
Okay. You are looking very green. Are you very happy today?
I'm okay.
So there is no news of a girlfriend.
No.
Then in one way, it is nothing to be very happy, but in the other way, it is a sustainable, peaceful situation.
Exactly.
Okay. Anybody has any more questions?
I wanted to ask you, is pleasure always in the contrast? And if this is the addiction we have, how do you practice of getting off it?
Yeah. You have asked the basic question of vajrayana.
Oh, yeah.
Of vajrayana. Vajrayana actually is answering this. The other yanas before could not answer this. So the thing is, our mind is in opposite binaries, always.
The dualism.
That is the dualism. In various stages of practice, dualism is recognized as differently. But in Vajrayana, dualism is recognized as the bipolarity of mind. And because this bipolarity of mind is there, because there's two sides of the coin, that is why a faculty of judgment comes up as the fourth element. The fourth skandha is samskara, that according to your conditioning of your soul, you will judge. Buddha called judgment as conditioning. Very interesting. Buddha called mind as definition.
As what?
So whenever there's the definition of a thing, it is always making two opposite views of it, because it's definite. Anything that is definite can be seen from within, outside, and outside to within. In these two views, there will be difference of the main thing. So vajrayana is saying in between two equal and opposite is the voidness. So to resolve these two opposite ends of anything of life, better to say the two opposite viewpoints, you don't give importance to either of them. And you go on watching the pleasure. How is it? Like when you are eating, you are enjoying the food. But enjoy the enjoyment itself. It's not words. You concentrate on your taste buds and see what from the sense of taste is pleasing you. What from the pleasure is coming up. Once you go there, it will be clear to you that the opposites of it are well connected, is not separated. The moment you find it well connected, just watching it, you will find the balance. That is mysticism. So that balance is actually happening in your body. When you are watching something or concentrating something which is in opposite views, because mind always have opposite views. That is why the Dharma Chakra Pravartana or the teaching mudra of a Buddha is like this. If one is moving clockwise, another is moving anti-clockwise, to opposite motions. He's giving a teaching of two equal and opposites.
Dharma chakra?
Yeah, Dharma Chakra is equal and opposite.
So
Because,
it's the,
yes,
sorry.
like you are seeing this wheel moving. How it is moving, clockwise or anti-clockwise?
Both?
Yes. So if it is both moving, from both our views different, then is it moving according to physics? According to physics, it is not moving.
Mind is moving.
Mind is moving. So when you watch the two opposite ends of the mind moving, then you can go into the stillness in between. That is Pratitya Samutpat by Nagarjuna, or that is the essence of the logic of dependable origination. The egg or the chicken, which is fast? The chicken has come from the egg and the egg has come from the chick. Now, according to Pratitya Samutpat or logic of dependable origination, on the standard of experience, that the chicken is a form and a definition of the form. Together is a chicken. An egg is also form and a definition. Together with it is an egg. But both being origin of each other, both are the same consciousness without the importance of the name and the form. Thus, it is neither the chicken nor the egg. What it is? Voidness. This simple understanding, most of the Buddhists do not get it. It's a very simple understanding. That in between two equal and opposite, there is a balance which is the neutral state of existence. And that can only come by focused observation. That is why Buddha named meditation as vipassana. Vipassana means vishesha pashyana. Vishesha means particular, spatial, or focused. And pashyana means observation. To have a focused observation, it's starting with the first factor of the Eightfold Path. Perfection of observation. So observe, go on observing. In some time when you are concentrated in two equal and opposite, without getting attached to any, you have found the balance.
So can I ask something? So that's why the extremes seems to be closer together than the middle ways?
Middle way.
No, I mean, sometimes the extreme seems closer than not the extremes. Do you know what I mean?
See,
Some,
the extremes are always making the middle path. If there were no extremes, wouldn't have been a middle path at all.
yeah, no, I know what I mean. But I mean that sometimes it seems like the extremes are closer together than the other parts. Like you have parts where you can look at something and it's not that extreme, and then it's very far away from seeing the whole. But sometimes when you feel feelings very extremely or very intensely, also like happiness
That's
and
very close.
yeah, is that because I'm taking
why,
the view?
Yes, that is why the middle path is exactly there, where all ignorance is and all wisdom is in the same point. That is how the preparation of Tantrayana, or Tantrayana is preparing somebody for Vajrayana, or for the Vajra, the balanced consciousness. In Tantrayana, what is happening? Each of the daughters of Mara, means each of our major temptations, like jealousy, passion, ignorance, hatred, irritation, is coming to us. More we are observing with the coolness of the Buddha nature, more the trouble is becoming my wisdom. That is how a demoness is becoming a Tara.
Actually, blessings.
Actually, blessings. That is why in Tantra, nothing is forbidden and nothing is condemned. Because anything can be condemned and forbidden because anything can be abused. How much religion is abused?
A lot.
Then. So, if the angel is fallen, then the angel is Satan.
If the angel is
So what
fallen,
mistake did God create to make the archangel fall? That is the nature of creation. Everything is in polarity. So our mind reflects on everything is polarity. So if we stay in the middle, like a pleasure, as I said, of food, in matter of any other pleasure, if you concentrate on the object of pleasure, you will go into excitement. And if you concentrate on the enjoyment of the pleasure, your excitement will go and it will make you meditative then and there.
thank you.
Jai Guru, Jai Guru, Jai Guru. Very good question, very important question.
Well, thank you so much.
Okay. Anybody has any more questions?
So no, as you said, like when we go on watching, and then this things, these places, they go on being wiped up. So
Not wiped up, not wiped up, not wiped up.
I mean, they're being converted into wisdom. So
See, all these can be words without experience. So come, make me clear about it. Think of any pleasure. Just think of any pleasure. And go into the memory of the pleasure. Now observe inside yourself in the memory of the pleasure. You are pleasuring and the object is pleasuring. Which one is pleasuring? The pleasure is in you or in the object?
in me, Baba.
But it is not with the object also. Now observe in your own mind, between you and the object is the pleasure. Let's concentrate there. What can you say about the effect of that observation. Now speak out, what is the fruit of the observation? What did you see? What did you observe?
So it is very much the mind created. The likes and dislikes about the substance.
Yes, but the thing is, when you go to the depth of feelings, the definition cracks out. When the definition goes, half of the pleasure seeking, which is creating the mysticism of the pleasure, which is the phantom of the pleasure, is gone. Then remains your sense of pleasure, pure pleasure, which is happiness, and the object from which you are deriving the pleasure. Now see, the happiness, the faculty of happiness is in you, the object stored it up. The object hiked it up. So the happiness is inside you. Now see the happiness inside you. And see also that mentally thinking of a pleasure and the happiness derived out of the pleasure, when you are concentrating in the happiness, you are more dissolving into the happiness and the pleasure is getting forgotten. It's a process, not so short. But this is the way. Now you ask the question.
Baba, since you talked about the yanas, I wanted to ask something like the same. This is pure vipassana, right, Baba? So when it is applied, so somebody talks about like being arhat, where total everything is vanished, now he's not coming back, but the same people, when I read about them in a Lotus Sutra, suppose it is Mahakasyapa or whomever, and they are again coming. So what is the substance left that projects again in the future?
This is also a question of all questions. I have a Bengali song on this. But if I sing the Bengali song, that will not make any sense to anybody. What I have found in my own experience, I will say. This is my 16th birth of an Avadhuta. Prior, I had 15 Avadhuta births. Every time I have died, I've gone into a sense of nothingness that I cannot hold on to anything and everything is weared out in the time of death. With a love for life, without objective thought. I do not know I can explain this very well. But the love for life came to every time to me that all the wisdom and all the ignorance is in the life. So the challenge of the ignorance and the victory of the wisdom, witnessing it is a great pleasure. It can be anything and everything, but it is a great pleasure. So life is a lovely thing. So when I'm dying, I'm seeing all my faculties are dying out, and what remaining at the end is like a blue small pearl. Like I can only describe it like that, a small blue gem, which is crystal, a light, free from all karmas, but full with the love. And this love is bringing me back to life. The love has been given me by life. Every time I'm coming back, first is a big culture shock every time, because I've gone away in a different age and come back in a different age. There is a culture shock. If you have the memory of the past, then the culture shock is too heavy. I remember when first I went out of India to Australia, I had a severe culture shock. And when in my room, I was thinking that everything I'm seeing, or not everything, most of the things, that time it is gone to extreme, is all against my virtues. So those who do not practice any virtues, how can I talk to them what spirituality is? Because spirituality, my spirituality is standing on my virtues. So I was sitting in my room and thinking it. Suddenly, Ma Tara appeared and said, "Do you think you are any different?" And I was shocked. And immediately I understand that I am creating the difference in me on the basis of culture, on the basis of virtues, on the basis of many things. And from there, I'm closing the door to watch this world without any attachment, even not hatred, irritation. No negative attachment. So I am making a difference in me. That is creating this trouble of seeing things not good, it's bad. So I've taken the favor of the good. Thus, Arhat, taking the favor of the good does not mix up with people very much. That is where Buddha found his Arhats are becoming very self-centered. But in case of Buddha, it was all love, love for everybody, that brought him to find out the way for everybody. And in the process, suitable for the time and the situation and the culture, he gave his teaching saying that in different time, in different situations, the disciplines and virtues needs to be get changed. Some virtues will never change, but some virtues are relative, they need to change. Because he realized clearly that no Buddha is free in teaching, because a Buddha is bound. His teachings, he is not bound, but his teachings, his dharma is bound to the sufferings of people. And suffering has its own space and time. Suffering of Satya Yuga and suffering of Kali Yuga are not the same suffering. So of course, the methods cannot be the same. So this love, when we come back with the human limitation of the body, gets into a claustrophobic sense. That claustrophobic sense is me and mine. So when you transcend, again, you have to practice every lifetime. You have a car, but you need the license to be renewed every year. So again, you are sitting for the practice, and one day you open your eyes, okay. Or even you are enlightened, you can forget it in a moment. As I forgot that I'm very unhappy coming to this Western culture. Nothing is sanctified. So I have gone to the extreme of my Puritanism. So Maitreya said, did you create a difference in you? So the actual virtue was not to keep a difference. But from one cultural extreme, I have come to another cultural extreme, and the difference is disturbing me because I've given importance to the difference. So this is also a very big challenge for somebody who comes back. So what comes back, from my view, from my experience, is the love, which is the other sense of life. I won't say love for life, then the pleasures will get attached to it. It's not love for life. Life is not an objective. Life is the reality. What is difference between Shaiva yoga and Buddhist yoga? It's the same. That is why I was saying, if somebody says, this is Shaiva and Hindu, this is Buddhist, then that person has not practiced the yogas. One who does not have the sense of sky will call it an American sky, an Indian sky. One who have experienced the limitless will not try to bind the limitless within our narrow bindings. This is the problem of an arhat. The arhat lives safely with the differences. This is bad, this is evil, I'm away from it, I'm holy. So from there, I don't eat anything, everything. I don't touch everything. I have particular dress and fashion. Other things are bad. So a time comes, this is bad, that is bad, that is bad. The person is living in the bad rather than living in his own good, his or her own good. So the arhat gets perturbed coming to common social intercourse. That is why arhat chooses seclusion. Buddha saw his arhats are becoming self-centered, but Buddha chose this life out of love, out of compassion. In Buddha's term, it is compassion. So Buddha took them to Gridhrakuta, the vulture peak, and chose the 8 best of arhats and gave them the teaching of Prajna Paramita, or the teaching of knowing your mind to broaden your mind. So how you broaden your mind? Love others, enjoy self-sacrifice. What is the self-sacrifice? That your arhatship of this delicate holiness can get injured. You are always afraid, insecure. Grow some more strength in your holiness that it is not so insecure. And only self-sacrifice can make you come out of your limitations of the self or identity or ego. If you are bounded by your limitations, then where is liberation? Your limitations are your liberation. Again, if you are not careful of your limitations, then you will do mishaps in life. So it's at the simultaneously knowing the duality and knowing the singularity brings you to oneness. That's a Sufi master will say there is nothing good and nothing bad. Allah didn't decide what is good and bad. It's the Prophet who decided. Now Allah told the prophet that this is good and bad? Because yes, whatever the prophet thought is bad, according to that Allah said. What prophet thought good, according to that Allah said. So if you hold your God in your limitations, your God is limited. To see this fun, when a Hindu Vedantist will think that Brahma Jnana is the ultimate truth, I am feeling great expanse and that is the all truth because I'm enjoying it. Buddha said, no, this great expanse can take you also to a pride. So practice empathy. Your subjective vastness is of no value if your life does not show you to be generous, to be empathetic to others. So Brahma Vihara taught by Buddha came as Karuna, Maitri, Upeksha. And what is the fourth one?
Mudita.
So all these four are holding your expansion not to get selfish. So even Brahma Jnana has to be applied with compassion. Otherwise, the Brahma Jnana will go into its contrary to the opposite pole of I am individually Brahman. Then the total understanding of Brahma Jnana becomes self-contradictory. If I am the pure consciousness that pervades everything, then why I am so connected to my happiness and not sharing it with others? Why I cannot sacrifice myself for others? Acha, Sam, somebody has asked, what is mudita? Can you say what is mudita?
It's sympathetic joy. Like when somebody is progressing, we are jealous. But then the practice should be that we are not jealous. We should watch our jealousy and come out of it and should be happy when something good happens to others. That's what I understood.
This is an example. Mudita is the self-beneficiary joy in helping others. Very simply. Suppose an old man is standing in front of you and you are sitting in a chair and there is no other chair. If you feel empathy, oh my God, he's standing, he's suffering, and you feel that suffering in you, you leave the chair and ask him to sit or ask her to sit. When that person is seated, you feel relief from your own suffering that you are enjoying and somebody else is suffering. This enjoyment, this relief is mudita. Dr. Babu, bujhle? One who asked the question, I have to ask him. His name is Desen. So when he writes Desen, it means he's descending. A doctor, he is a doctor, he doesn't answer me. Because when he asks me a question, I answer, it's okay. But when I ask him, he will not answer me, he will keep silent. See, this hide and seek in old age shows that the child didn't play well in childhood days, was always in books and was a very obedient good boy. Now in old age, he likes to do a bit hide and seek game. Still he is not answering. Dr. Babu! Maitri, the term, is between two equal and opposites. So Maitri is voidness. Like the ultimate question of Maitreya comes very high dialectical philosophy in Buddhism. That one end is nirvana. Nirvana is non-identity. Another end is samsara, multiple identities. In between, one can bring a friendliness, will discover the Buddha spirit. Buddha mind can be discovered in nirvana. But the Buddha spirit that wants to come back, not happy that I have got it and become a Pratyeka Buddha, no. I have to share it. Now I have got it, means now I have the responsibility to share with it. Now this responsibility nobody can burden you with. It can only appear in your own conscience. If it doesn't appear in your conscience, you are not meant for it. So greater is your realization, greater will be your compassion. Because the compassion and the wisdom, which is nirvana, is in balance. The voidness in between, where nirvana or the voidness is substratum of life, and from there compassion has arisen. So from nothing, everything has come. And in the other end, if life was not there, what was the question of nirvana? If Buddha Siddhartha himself was not disturbed by his continuous pleasuring with the pain, he does not know what this pain and suffering for. He wouldn't have gone to find it out. So nirvana is originating from samsara. And samsara, when you are coming back from nirvana, is originating from nirvana as compassion. So now both nirvana and samsara is the same consciousness in its pure sense. Neither the form nor the name of it is important anymore. That is sahaja. That is the ultimate voidness. In that ultimate voidness, one is not pulled or sucked up by nirvana and will never come back. So those will never come back. They have seen their personal suffering too big than the vastness of wisdom and knowledge that has created the life as it is. So where you are trying to drop out from a continuity of a pair of opposites, or you will go someday to resolve this pair of opposites. Even a Buddha, for one space and time, a pair of opposites may not be resolved. And that can bring the Buddha back to another life, researching on that pair of opposites. Tantra sees it in a very beautiful way. Tantra sees that the hetu or cause of a realization is no less important than the realization itself. Like Durga Pujas are coming. Durga Puja in a tantric way will first have puja of Mahishasura or the demon, right? If the demon was not there, what was the need of Durga to come? To put some importance and thankfulness to the demon, that because demon was there, you wanted the goddess to save you, and then the goddess came. So, a dress, food, and all these offerings will be given to the demon under a bel tree, vilva tree. And there will be Ganapati worshipped at the root of the vilva tree. So the vilva tree is our body. The root is Muladhara. Where Ganapati or Siddhi is there, where the demon is also. So the dress at the foot of the demon is given to the drummer who's drum during the puja. Because drumming is publicity. So who publicized Goddess Durga? Mahishasura. That is how she is defined as Mahishasura Mardini. If Mahishasura was not there, where is Mahishasura Mardini? So the worship of the demon starts Durga Puja. Astounding. And then when Rama did Durga Puja, there's a story. It's all story. Some story, Rama did a Durga Puja to kill Ravana. Because when Rama went to fight, saw that Durga is sitting in the lap of Ma Durga in the chariot. So nobody can harm him anything. So why I'm doing it? So Rama did a Durga Puja. So now who will be the priest of the Durga Puja? Rama called Brahma. Brahma said, I am incapable to do the Durga Puja. Then Rama said, but you are the boss of the faculty of priests. He said in Chandika, in Saptasati Chandi, I said, Kate Stuti Stavat Para Parakti, that you are so great, mother, that who am I to praise you? Praising you or worshipping you is a wrong understanding, because everything I am getting is by your grace. What can I give you? So this thought of I can give you is a blasphemy. So because I have said that I cannot do the puja, so Rama said, Brahma, you have to arrange the puja by any means. So Brahma said, okay, I will find out a right priest. So Brahma sat in meditation and saw Ravana is the only priest who can evoke Durga. And Ravana is also a favorite devotee of Brahma. So Brahma says to Ravana, Ravana, you have to do a Durga Puja. You first give me word, will you do it? So Ravana smiled at Brahma and said, gods are always crooked. Well, why, Ravana? Because you are asking me to sit for a prayer for my own death. I can see that in you. And you are asking me to do a Durga Puja. Okay, I will do it. But Rama will not do it, that I am the priest. Okay. So Ravana has gone to do the Durga Puja. And when Ravana is doing the Sankalpa of the Durga Puja, why I am doing this puja? So he's saying the Sankalpa is Ravana Nidhanathaya Durga Devai Nama. For killing Ravana, I am evoking you. And why he's saying, while he's saying it, the priest is crying. More the priest is crying, his real form of Ravana is coming out. So Ram sense that Ravana has come to worship Durga in behalf of me, for him to get killed in my hand. What type of wisdom is this? So Rama fell very low to himself, that I am doing Durga Puja to kill Ravana. And Ravana, I am not good enough as a priest. I am searching for a priest. And the best priest has come, who is Ravana. And he is praying for his own death. What does that mean? I will not answer this. You resolve it in your own mind. This is a food for mind. But that is why before Durga Puja, Saradiya Durga Puja, Ravana is also worshipped. So Ravana and Mahishasura, both these devas are worshipped. because they're hetu of Durga. If Ravana and Mahishasura was not dead, there was no Durga. So, if there is no nirvana, if there is no samsara, so thus the sense of samsara and the sense of nirvana both are interdependent on each other in its origin, and thus none of those exist in the final enlightenment. It's also a polarized reality, and that polarization of wisdom and compassion in between is a Maitri. So Maitri should not be translated just as friendliness. This friendliness is the yoga. In between the two extreme opposites, or a pair of opposites, in between there is always the balance. So the Maitri is the balance between. Okay? Okay, then today we talked long. It's over 2.5 hours. Did Eleonora ask me anything in between that I stopped you? No.
No, Baba.
Somebody, a female voice was there, was asking me, and then I answered somebody else. Is it Moitrima? No. Anybody?
Baba, I have a question.
Yeah.
Is it love that draws spirit to take incarnation again?
Which spirit, ma?
After death?
Yeah.
When there is a new born, has that spirit come because of love, to seek love again?
Yeah. See, so long you are conditioned by incomplete love, you move into pleasures. Pleasure is a little part of love, but separated. Love is one that conjoins everything, joins everything. And pleasure separates. That is why there are different kinds of pleasure. So long there is incompleteness of pleasure, or there is incompleteness of pleasure, that hankering is the karma that you are born again. But when a Buddha or a completely accomplished being who has no desire left is born out of love, not of any desire. This is the only difference. So born out of desire is life. Born out of love is also life. The life is not the same pattern and standard of life. So when our love is broken into many pieces, then it becomes pleasure. And when the pleasure dissolves, love increases. This is what is the main aspect of Jugala sadhana or copulation practice in Tantra, that the bondage should not be excitement and pleasure between a couple, but the love has to be the essence of the relationship. So long one is seeing other in the attachment of sexuality only, it's objectifying love. Once I said a line that hurt many people, that those who are unfit for love go for making. So when you make love is when you don't feel love, in most cases. But Tantra teaches you how you can feel love in the process of making love if you cannot separate the pleasure from love. You see, the love is hidden in the pleasure. This is how Tantra has taught us to transcend. So for whom abstention will give freedom, and for whom everybody's standards are different according to the samskara or the conditioning of the karmas. For some, pleasure is the path of enlightenment. So only the Guru knows where to apply which one. That is why we need a Guru, because I don't know, and the Guru knows. Why? Guru has known himself or herself so clearly that knows the ideal archetypal nature and its manifestation into limitations. One who has known it in himself or herself or itself can find that same structure in others. And according to other samskaras, he, she, or it gives the training. I do not know whether I have met your question. If you think I have not targeted your question, then you can ask me again.
I'm thinking of the love of existence, of being in nature, wanting to have that again.
Yes, love of existence is always in nature. As I told you, that for last 6 years, I'm not well. But just 3 days, I went to a place nearby, which is dense forest. Just 3 days, hours sitting in the green, I came to a conclusion and told Mama, if there is no need for the Buddha mind in this life of anything, it at least have the need of nature to survive its Buddha nature in life. That's true. It's absolutely true. When you post your pictures of Australia today, I enjoy it like anything. But that tempts me to a hopelessness that now I am in this concrete room. Outside is the main road. Opposite to my house are only concrete buildings. Where is nature? How I am surviving here? And in India, it's becoming more and more difficult to survive in nature because of its population. Like just into that forest, me and Ma drove and was sitting. And then groups of tourist cars going. People are shouting, singing. So I was thinking it is disturbance to me, but it is their happiness also. Who am I to feel disturbed? But yes, nature is everything of life. Without nature, there is no life. So love for life, a big part the sustenance of love for life is in nature. There's no question about it. You are right. So today this much. Sukritima, are you satisfied?
Yes, Baba.
Okay. Shambhu Adesh, Amor Adesh, Avadhuta Adesh, Ranjan Boom, 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 Har Har Mahakal, Uttara Guru, Nairatmakam, Sharanam Gacchami, Adma Ishtam, Swabodhatmakam, Sharanam Gacchami, Sangha Shakti, Swabhavatmakam, Sharanam Gacchami.